Hello, I'm Chris Bottger and welcome back to another album review. Today, I'm going to be reviewing folk rock band Buffalo Springfield's 1966 debut album, Buffalo Springfield. This is early days for the members of Buffalo Springfield. Despite this, we get a very high standard of quality on this album. Stephen Stills and Neil Young are both very gifted songwriters just beginning to show off the depths of their talents here. Stills takes up most of the front half of the album, whilst Young's songs are mostly relegated to the back half. Stills sings his songs, but most of Neil Young's tracks were sung by Ritchie Furay. Furay didn't write any of the songs on this album, but would go on to pen tracks on the band's later albums. Despite this, Furay is an integral part of this album, pairing well with both Stills and Young, adding great harmonies to songs by Stills and lead vocals to those by Young. Now, I'm going to break this album down song by song before finally giving my thoughts and ranking of the album as a whole later in the video. I would like to encourage everyone to bear with me and watch the whole video. Without further ado, let's hop right into it. For What It's Worth is a great way to kick off the album. The song has a good hook in the opening guitar tones, which plays well with the lead guitar that starts soon afterwards. While initially peaceful, as the song goes on it begins to sound a bit more militaristic in tone, with the addition of more forceful electric guitar replacing the tones and hand claps that begin on the bridge. The lyrics are great as well. The chorus is catchy and memorable, while also having a feeling of unrest and paranoia underneath it. The verses are very memorable, with great lines throughout, and the song also has a great bridge. With For What It's Worth, Stephen Stills and Buffalo Springfield give us one of the greatest protest songs of all time, which is no small feat considering how many there were in this style alone. Go and Say Goodbye is a song about a man giving advice to another man who has just received his draft notice in the mail. The single tells the other man that he must tell his girlfriend/wife about the notice and not just sneak off to report for duty without telling her first. The chorus here is pretty good, and the harmony between Stills and Furay is really strong throughout, really advancing the song's folk rock feeling. Go and Say Goodbye once again sees Stephen Stills successfully tackle one of the great problems of the decade in a sympathetic, approachable manner. Sit Down, I Think I Love You is a comparably simple song compared to the last couple of tracks from Stills, but it's still great nonetheless. There aren't any big political or societal statements here, just a simple love song. Despite this, Sit Down, I Think I Love You manages to keep up the quality of the album so far, having great verses and lyrics. The title and chorus are a bit humorous, and the lyrics flow together well and are quite memorable throughout. Nowadays Clancy Can't Even Sing is the first song on Buffalo Springfield to be written by somebody other than Stills. This song is written by Neil Young, although it is sung by Ritchie Furay. The lyrics here are quite a departure from the songs that have preceded it on the album. While earlier tracks were clear enough, nowadays Clancy Can't Even Sing makes use of a lot of imagery and obscure lyrics. The performance here is really good, with a great harmony performed by the group on the chorus. I also detect a little bit of Baroque flavoring on this song, especially in the percussion during the chorus. Nowadays Clancy Can't Even Sing was originally released on Buffalo Springfield's debut single. A really good song for a first impression, considering this is the first song by either Neil Young or Buffalo Springfield as a whole to see a wide release. Hot Dusty Roads is the most overtly country-sounding song of this album. This song is pretty simple, being a song about a man trying to woo a girl in a nonchalant way. Hot Dusty Roads is a disaffected form of Sit Down, I Think I Love You. Catchy and memorable in its own right, Hot Dusty Roads is another solid entry from Stills. Everybody's Wrong is another political song, much like the first couple of songs on the album. In this song, Stephen Stills laments how politicians spend all their time wasting time debating and sending everyone around in circles. He seems to think that those in power are all talk and no action, and that they are ineffective at helping the people. There's some really good lines here, with the song having a very sarcastic tone throughout. In the end, Everybody's Wrong is another song that both pairs well with the rest of the songs on the album and is very sturdy on its own. Now, before we go on to side 2 of the album, I want to remind you that if you like this style of album review, to please like this video by hitting the thumbs up button below, hit the subscribe button below, and consider watching some of my other videos after this one is through, as all these things help me out a great deal. Flying on the Ground is Wrong is another song written by Young but sung by Furay. Furay's voice is right for this type of solo pop rock ballad, and Young provides falsetto harmony vocals throughout. In this song, the singer is breaking up with a girl that he believes is holding him back. From what I can tell, the single wants to leave his hometown, but believes the goal is keeping him there, but also wishes they could have met and fallen in love under different circumstances. Flying Over Grand is Wrong kind of reminds me of the types of songs the Beatles were doing around the time of Help in early 1965. A nice little ballad that is simple but mirrors excellent delivery with effective lyrics. Bond is the first song of the album to actually be not just written by, but actually sung by Neil Young. The lyrics of the song were great, albeit vague. The song describes the feeling of being born and coming down hard. The song doesn't clarify if this is in relation to romance or something else, which allows Bond a good degree of applicability not present on the other songs. The lyrics are great, the chorus is great, and the music is great. One of my favorite parts is partway through the song, where there's a break where there's a short piano solo followed by an even shorter guitar solo that also sounds great. Bond is a very catchy song that, in my opinion, really should have been a big hit. The first classic by Neil Young, and an amazing one at that. Do I Have to Come Right Out and Say It follows the theme of a man who is hesitant to tell his crush how he feels about her. While Neil Young's falsetto vocals here are way overdone, this is perhaps the only minor failing of the album as a whole. Do I Have to Come Right Out and Say It is a novel story ballad from Buffalo Springfield that is quite enjoyable. Leave is an angry breakup song where the single tells his wife to get out of his life. It's one of the fastest songs of the album, and Stephen Stills uses his gritty alternative voice to great effect here. We also continue to see more of a great harmonization that has been present throughout the album, with Stills and Furay singing together throughout the song. Out of My Mind is the second and last song on the album sung by Neil Young. I'm not really sure what the song is about. It could literally be about going insane and being taken for help, or it could be a commentary on the isolation that comes with being a famous musician. This seems a bit early in his career for Young to be writing a song about the latter topic, but it's the reading I actually prefer of the two. Of course, it is possible neither of these readings is correct, so let me know if you know what this song is about. Out of My Mind is a forlorn-sounding ballad. It reminds me in a lot of ways of Neil Young's later song, Helpless, on Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young's Deja Vu album, both in terms of harmony and tone. In some respects, I could say that Out of My Mind is the future that Stills and Young are both heading towards after this album is through, both in terms of lyrics and sound. Stephen Stills' Pay the Price is a mid-tempo song with a soft country rock backing. This is a song in which a man is in a love triangle with a girl and tells her to go ahead and end it. We've already seen plenty of songs on this theme, even by 1966. Still, Pay the Price is a solid entry that has a really catchy chorus and an enjoyable backing. A solid song to end the album off on, even if it doesn't really feel any different than the other tracks on the album. Now, up until this point in the video, I've actually been reviewing the 1967 track listing that was used for second pressings of the Buffalo Springfield album. The 1967 track listing I have here is the more common version, at least as far as vintage copies go. This is the better version of the album, but it's not actually the original release. When Buffalo Springfield first came out, For What It's Worth was a non-album single. Later pressings added it at the expense of removing another track from the original 1966 release. So I figured even if I don't have a copy with the original track listing, I would go ahead and give my thoughts on the original song, which is readily found on streaming services. Baby Don't Scold Me is a Stephen Stills song that was originally in the middle of side 2. This song is a lot harder than the rest of the album, starting off with some feedback in the whole song featuring a heavier usage of electric guitar than the rest of the album. This song sounds almost like an early The Who or Steppenwolf song, without there being really anything folk about it. The song then also has a guitar riff from Day Triple by the Beatles for seemingly no reason, and also erupts into the band screaming wildly to end out the song. Baby Don't Scold Me feels almost like a live recording with a total energy and incorporation of elements from a different, better-known song. It sounds quite different from the rest of the album and kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. I think it was best that this song was cut out in favor of For What It's Worth, as the latter fits in with the album's folk rock stylings a lot better, and is the better song to boot. Alright, that's it for the song-by-song breakdowns. Now, before we go on to my final thoughts on the album, let's look at my final scores of the songs. I give For What It's Worth 10 out of 10. Go and Say Goodbye 8 out of 10. Sit Down I Think I Love You 10 out of 10. Nowadays Clancy Can't Even Sing 9 out of 10. Hot Dusty Road 8 out of 10. Everyone's Wrong 8 out of 10. Flying Over Grand is Wrong 9 out of 10. Burned 10 out of 10. So I have to come right out and say it, 9 out of 10. Leave, 8 out of 10. Out of My Mind, 8 out of 10. Pay the Price, 8 out of 10. This is a very consistent album in terms of quality, both in terms of delivery and lyrics. Stills and Furay are great singles, and while Young's voice is quite distinctive, I think he is a great single as well. The instrumentation is consistent and sets the folk rock tone of the album very well, being peaceful but also confrontational when it needs to be. Throughout this album, Stephen Stills and Neil Young find a way to make their lyrics just click together really well, delivering both catchy choruses and memorable verses without fail. Additionally, there are several songs on this album that are among the all-time greats, especially as far as folk rock goes. For What It's Worth is an icon of the 1960s and the protest song genre, and songs like Sit Down I Think I Love You and Nowadays Clancy Can't Even Sing are staples of the folk rock genre. I'd say Buffalo Springfield owns itself a solid 10 out of 10. It is a very solid album giving us some of the best folk rock songs and is a must-own for fans of folk rock, country rock, Stephen Stills or Neil Young solo careers, or just classic rock in general. And as always, before we go, it's time to look at the sleeve. It's pretty simple here. You've got the faces of the members of the band kind of on a film strip style. Kind of nice. I like the black and white kind of contrast. You also have this yellow line here, which adds a bit of color. Then on the back, you have some kind of information about the band, kind of this cutesy, kind of tabloid, I guess, style, kind of fluff piece sort of, thing. Not much really in the way of liner notes, and of course you've got the logo. It's kind of nice, as well as a picture of the members of the band. Neil Young seems to be asleep for some reason. And yeah, that's basically it. It's a pretty austere package, all things considered, but it does look nice, and I do quite like its cover. So yeah, there you go, Buffalo Springfield. So yeah, if you made it this long of a video, I want to thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. Be sure to like and subscribe. That does help me out quite a lot. And I hope to see you in my next video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.